Shall we begin? Let's begin now. Let's begin now.
This is not a drill.
Repeat, this is not a drill.
Is that all you got?
Let's begin now.
What up? Oh, for sure.
In my dreams, I walk free in the city streets. 2,500 days plus 50 weeks. Doing hard time for these WikiLeaks. Trying to bring the truth out, man, it only gets you deep. And then they gag you. You don't get to speak. And when you get the leak, they try to hit the leak. The masters of the masses, they want the shit to street. That's why my middle finger's up to these sick elites. Playing on the regular.
You keep the messenger.
Free speech, it's the freedom of press. Take your deepest, darkest secrets, never leave them unsaid. If I'm a thief, then I'm a thief for the people you dread. The people want the red, while the blue you keep them in bed. Seeking the sheep, keep them asleep, deceiving the weak. Keep seeking the leaks till you cease, and I see your defeat. Until I'm deceased underneath, I freeze a red sheet, become a dead man. Then I hit the switch and release. With Goldman Sachs, with Goldman Sachs, with Goldman Sachs, is your creditor.
You keep the messenger.
Outside my window, a figure quickly creeps. They dark as night like some motherfucking chimney sweeps. Whiskey what my Mickey keeps. Dying in my kidneys weak. Silence of my risky tweets. What the grand jury seeks. I'm wanting peace like 7 years in Tibet. Now rest in peace like 7 years under threat. Cause I released 7 vaults. They upset. They ended the rape sentence. But the US still insists to rest. I guess it's a sin to take the truth and disseminate. MLK to Gandhi. Take him and eliminate. And I don't say I'm great. Just wanna say what's fake. But if they kill me, a million others will take my place. The CIA's post like a knife the sharpest. All hypocrisy, lies, and heartless. They want to stop me, my life, make my heart quit. Cause democracy dies in the darkness. Cause democracy dies in the darkness. You kill the messenger.
You kill the messenger.
Democracy dies in the darkness.
Darkness.
Hey everyone, how is everybody doing in the chat? After that lead-in, after that intro, I better have something good to say, eh? That last song was Kill the Messenger by James Gets It, and I heard it on the Unity 4J stream over the weekend. That excellent visual put together by Susie Dawson, Elizabeth Lee Voss, and other great people. And I had to ask if I could use it. They said, yeah, use it, obviously, you know, and I'm sure you will agree, that's not just a great song about WikiLeaks and Assange. That's a great song. It's absolutely brilliant. So, yeah, the link is in the description, and his Twitter profile is in there as well. Go and give him a share and a like and a credit, and follow him on Twitter. Hi, everyone. Hello, mate from Australia, says Trooper Buddy. Hi, Trooper Buddy. Hi Nikki, link to GD's interview with Susie Dawson from UC4J. Thanks very much. Yeah, as part, I'll go on to talk about it later on in the stream. There's lots to talk about with regards to what has happened the weekend. But before I get to that, I want to show something, because I actually came back. Just bear me a second. I actually came back from. Set this up. So I came back from London actually on Saturday, and it's Tuesday now, and I haven't released any videos since. And the reason why is because I can't log into my own website, or I couldn't log into my own website through Virgin Media. And there's nothing nefarious going on. It's just literally that I repurchased my domain name for a longer period, and it messed something up with the cache at their end, and I needed them to clear the cache. But I want to show you this video because I was on the phone to them for almost 3 hours yesterday, and I was obviously dressed and I was ready to record videos. I had them all laid out. There's going to be obviously lots for me to talk about tonight. And I spent the whole day on the phone to Virgin Media. Now, I recorded the whole thing, and I've clipped it down to some of the bits that were going on at that time. Now, bear in mind that I've already been on the phone to them an hour, even before I start this clip. I think you're going to enjoy this, and I'm going to have to cringe while I'm watching it, I'm afraid, because this is what was happening yesterday. Hold on a minute. Would help if I played the desktop audio, wouldn't it? I'm on hold with them.
Hi there, my name is Preeti. Can I speak your full name, please?
Harry, what was your name, sorry?
My name is Preeti.
Can you spell that for me?
Yes, P for Papa, R for Romeo, E for Echo, E for Echo, T for Tango, I for Indigo.
Preeti?
Yes.
Well, hi, Preeti. I want you to know, I've just had the phone disconnected twice from calling Virgin Media, and I want you to know I'm that angry now I'm recording this call, and I would like to make a formal complaint and speak to whoever is supervisor there.
Definitely, but before I transfer this call, I need to confirm the name on the account. Can I take your name, please?
Yeah, no problem. My name is Dimmack.
Are you the account holder?
I am, yes.
Please confirm me your email allow me a minute so that I will get this call connected to my supervisor.
Okay, thank you.
Hi there.
Hello there.
Yes, I'm getting this call connected to my manager. She will be speaking to you next, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you for holding line.
Okay. Hello there. Who am I speaking to? Can you spell that for me, sorry? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hello there, Tista. My name's Gordon Dimmack, and I've called up twice with a problem, and the problem is I can't access my own website, gordondimmack.com, through Virgin Media. And I'm obviously a Virgin Media customer, and I obviously use that usually to log in through my WordPress admin panel. But I am blocked from my own website and everybody else's by the look of it, because I've tried on browsers through myself and my next door neighbour's account, and we're blocked. We can't access my website. But if I try using mobile data or any other, internet service provider, it loads okay. And I've called twice with this complaint, Tista, and twice I've been on the phone for 15 to 20 minutes with that person, and then I've been disconnected and they've hung up on me. And this is why I've come through to you now, because I'm actually quite angry. I have lost a day and a half's work because Virgin are blocking access to my website. And I want to know why. Log into my website, and I need this to actually be fixed now, because you're costing me a lot of money.
What I can do here, I have a team which is called as Gadget Rescue Team. If you want, I can get you connected to them.
Well, I need it escalated and sorted out now, Tista. I'm not putting the phone down until this is sorted, because this is a problem at Virgin's end, and we can prove that. Here.
Thank you for calling Virgin Media. My name is Dave. Can I take your full name, please?
Dave, my name is Gordon Dimmack, and I have now been cut off 4 times. The last time I was on the phone to Virgin Media, I was talking to your supervisor, Tista, and I've now been cut off 4 times.
Apologies for the inconvenience here. I'll see what's going on here.
Okay.
Gordon, can I confirm, are you the account holder?
I am, yeah.
Thank you for the verification.
Getting a little bit.
Here, I'll see what's going on here.
Yeah, getting a little bit tired of answering the same questions over and over as well, Dave.
Duly apologies for that.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Why are Virgin stopping me from connecting to my own website? Or any of my neighbours or anything like that? Why are they doing that?
Any of your neighbours? So when was the last time you tried it with any one particular neighbour, maybe?
I can try. I've tried with my neighbour's website like 10 minutes ago, just to see if she could log into it. She's got the same problem. Can log into any other website. Can't see mine. Yet you're saying you can. Everybody else can in the world, but me and my neighbour can't. Isn't that weird? For a journalist who's recently been covering the Julian Assange situation in London, and who's recording this conversation and every other conversation, who's had the phone put down on him 4 times so far.
Hey, is there a possibility to connect your the computer via an Ethernet cable to the modem and see if you can try it out?
It is connected to an Ethernet cable. It is.
Yeah. Okay then.
I've tried both on Ethernet and Wi-Fi. But okay, if I go on my phone and turn my Wi-Fi off on my phone, yeah, and try to go to my website via mobile data, loads no problem, my website does. Imagine that. And nobody at Virgin seems to want to stop this or do anything about it.
I mean, if you want to try it out with that, once again.
Try it out what?
Try that website once again, going for it, see if that works or not after going for these changes.
You haven't made any DNS changes. You haven't made any DNS changes. What are you talking about?
The changes were all okay before. Oh,
You
yeah.
you haven't made any changes. What are you talking about?
Okay.
This is all being recorded. You haven't made any changes. And you're telling me you have. Of course nothing's changed with the website. You haven't changed anything. Can I speak to Tista, please, your supervisor?
Yeah, hold on, please.
And welcome to Virgin Media Gadget Rescue Help Desk. We're here to help you with all of your computer and home technology problems.
I assure you you're
I
not.
put you through.
I can connect to any other website, but I can't connect to my own website. If I go next door to use my next door neighbour's Virgin Media and try to connect to my own website, I can't connect to my own website. Do you understand me, Victor? My own website, yes, gordondimmack.com, same as my name. I cannot access it through my own internet service provider. If I try and do it through my mobile data, through EE or even Virgin mobile data, yes, I can connect to my website. I cannot do it through a browser or through do you understand me, Victor? You have not listened to a word I've said, Victor. I have spent 2 hours on the phone to Virgin Media and I am losing my temper. I understand, Victor. Okay. I want you to understand how enraged I am, Victor. Would you please go away and sort this problem out, or please escalate it to somebody to call me back? Please. You... I must admit, I did call him a rather rude name at that point. That was after nearly 3 hours, that was. Now, it was nothing nefarious, nothing is going on. I know I played the card there, the Julian Assange, the reporter card, but it ended up being exactly what I was trying to tell them it was for hours. And it took me 2 days to figure out it was what everybody thought it was, all the experts that I was speaking to. It was literally they needed to update their cache, and they do it on a 3 to 4 day basis, and they literally just need to press a button, and I couldn't get through to anybody who would listen to me. So that's why you didn't get any updates from me over the last couple of days, even though I've been back from London. But this is customer service from Virgin? What the? It's like... But the thing is, I know I swore at the one guy, and I really did. I called him a really nasty name beginning with an M. But you know what? He deserved it. Because somebody deserved it. But the thing is, I can't really blame the people I'm on the phone to then, because that's not the Swansea call centre. That's not the Virgin Swansea call centre. I think you'll agree. I think, you know, I've written down some of the names, but I mean, that guy's name was not Dave. That was not Dave from Swansea. I can't really go mad at them because they're getting paid pittance. They're getting paid probably in portions of rice. And, you know, it's Virgin Media. You know, it's a giant corporation owned by a billionaire oligarch. And, you know, the reason that these jobs are shipped over to wherever that was, I assume it was Mumbai or somewhere like that, they're doing it for a reason. And it's because, you know, it's amazing how much profit there is to be found when you're, you know, mistreating and when you're treating people, you know, a billion strong workforce with no human rights. There's quite a lot of profit to find there. But you can see there that's a perfect example of people taking jobs from over here, shipping them abroad because they're cheaper, and to hell with the customer service, because you can bet today's the 9th, I believe, the 9th. So my bill is due tomorrow night, and they haven't paid it yet. What do you think the chances are that they're gonna disconnect me if I don't pay my bill by tomorrow night? I think you. I think you'll agree that that's a almost certainty. I do want to say this though. the reason I'm with Virgin Media is because they're the best, they're the fastest, and they're the most reliable broadband probably in the country, certainly in the area I'm in. But that's not as a defense of Richard Branson at all, because, you know, I'm sure he doesn't give a shit about his customer service, but that was just pathetic. It was levels of customer service that I'd never seen before. So with regards to Richard Branson, I'm with Jonathan Pye when he says, Richard Branson, why don't you go fuck off and live on the moon, you bearded twat? Because if I have to spend another hour or another minute on your customer service pulling my hair out like that, I'll go insane. I have the patience of a saint. God knows what those poor people who you pay a pittance to receive on a daily basis from people who aren't quite as patient as me. You absolute horrible horror of a man. So that's that off my chest. That was bugging me for the last 24 hours. Oh my word. That was insane. Yes, I did. To whoever I saw in the chat saying, did I try to turn it off and on again? Yeah, I tried that. Well done, mate. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you, Nikki. Delighted to have found your channel, my friend. Thanks very much to whoever just said that. I know Nikki's seems to be, yeah, I'm getting more popular. There seems to be naughty people in the chat. Nikki's got her work cut out. What do you think of the new logo then, guys? Let me know in the chat because, yeah, your money bought that. This is, I've obviously rebranded it in the last week. I said that we have design logos come to us as, let me just type me away, you can see it properly. And there you go. So that's the new logo. You can see the Extinction Rebellion sign is in the middle of there as well. I can type that out and put it back in again, or put whatever I want in there depending on what I'm covering. But yeah, going forward, we'll talk about more to do with the journalism drive later. I've got a few stories I want to cover tonight and catch up on what I missed over the last couple of days because of that unbelievable experience on the phone with Virgin Media. I'm not kidding you. It was testing. It was testing. Thank you, Bluebell51. I'm glad you like the new logo. Everybody seems to be in the chat seems to be very happy with it. Looking super professional. Yeah, everybody looks good. Great. The green hue makes it look a bit X-Files, says Morpheus. Yeah, a little bit, I suppose, but, you know, what other colour am I going to pick? You know, I didn't want blue because everybody seems to have blue, and, yeah, green's my favourite colour, so I thought, why not go with it? I did think about going with the old gold and black because obviously Wolverhampton, and Wolves is my favourite team, and I did that for a while. But I think I've settled on the green now, and I've settled on that logo the way it is, just in black as well. We've got. I'll talk a bit more about it later. I just want to get to the next story because, like I say, I've got a few things I want to talk about tonight. Bluebell51, would it be okay if I make that into a button to wear? Absolutely, Bluebell51. If you do, let me know. I said do then. I always laugh at that. I'm such a child. Yeah, if you do, let me know. Let me know. Green is a calming colour. I was thinking, you know, I just like the colour, and you can make loads of excuses on top of that. You could say, oh well, it's a Green New Deal, and I'm a greenie, I'm for green energy, etc., etc. But the truth is, I just like it. It's my favourite colour, and I always have. That's the truth. Yeah, I saw that, Paul. That was very nice of Jimmy to do that. I'm always, you know, shocked when people of such high stature say nice things. So, Gordon, are you going to talk about Charlie Rowley wanting a chat with Putin, says Mark Time. Not tonight, mate. It's not on my my list of things to do tonight. It's pretty low down, to be honest, that story is, but I did see it. It's just, you know, there's not much really I can add to that story than I've already added to it. We'll see. We'll see going forward what happens, whether there's any more developments. Thank you, Tues Time. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the Unity 4J vigil, talking to Susie Dawson on that. That was great. And while I'm here, let's talk about what I saw, what happened the weekend, what transpired the weekend. Now we've had a chance to digest it all. So, thanks to your kind donations, everyone, we bought the equipment, and I managed to fund me to buy the equipment required to cover the recent events down in London. Thanks to the journalism drive, which I've started, to cover the Extinction Rebellion next week. Obviously, we're definitely going to do that now because we reached the goal that we needed, and we've upped the goal now to obviously cover more events going forward, and maybe even the Yellow Vest protest in France, which I'm going to cover a little bit later in this stream. But we bought the equipment needed to cover the embassy, and on Thursday night, late on Thursday night, I got a message from Elizabeth Lee Voss because WikiLeaks had tweeted this out. Breaking: a high-level source within the Ecuadorian state has told WikiLeaks that Julian Assange will be expelled within hours to days, quote, hours to days, that is, using the INA Papers offshore scandal as a pretext, and that it already has an agreement with the UK for his arrest. Now, I'm sure you can imagine that WikiLeaks are very wary of raising any false alarms. So, and I'm sure that you can imagine that WikiLeaks will be a target of, you know, some underhand people to make them fall for a false alarm. And I know that people have made the accusation that maybe it was. I don't think that this was a false alarm, simply because WikiLeaks are very wary of that. So was this a credible threat? Well, they're already reacting to it because Ecuador have removed an official that's close to Assange. This is just, you know, a day or so after WikiLeaks have got a source from within the Ecuadorian embassy, and then a second source as well that they confirmed, saying that his arrest was imminent and that the deal had been struck with the UK. And then there's the increased surveillance around the area, because Cassandra Fairbanks, who I would like to point out something, you know what, I'll point it out in a bit, but I want to give her lots of credit for her reporting on this, because she went down there, she came over from America, I believe, and went there, and she spotted all these cameras around. There's one up there that's directly on the embassy. Even I didn't spot that when I was down there. And there's that one right on top of the one of the buildings as well. Now, we sort of know, or we sort of think where they, or I sort of knew where they were. These are new positions for me, so that was really great that she did that. And I want to give her a special props, Cassandra Fairbanks, because when I was down there on the ground, we were trying to surmise, obviously, if they were going to arrest Julian Assange, when they would do it, what's the most likely time. And obviously, I mean, I was down there within 7 hours. By the time I got down there, there was quite a few people down there already. So people really had sprung into action. Anybody who saw the rugby stream when WikiLeaks broke that tweet, they know that people arrived there pretty quickly, and maybe it scuppered some sort of plan. And the Ecuadorians are saying, look, there was no plan at all. This is all WikiLeaks fake news. I think they're just using that just as an excuse, you know, just as a way to deflect things on. It's pretty obvious if you look at the increased surveillance and etc., that they're trying to get him. And when I was down there on the ground, we were trying to surmise what was the most likely time. And what we thought was, and most of us were of this opinion, that Sunday night was the most likely time, 4 o'clock Sunday morning after all the reporters have gone after the hullabaloo of the weekend. I was obviously back in Wolverhampton. Most people had gone back to their homes because they got work again on the Monday, and that's what we thought. So props to Cassandra Fairbanks, because she went out and she did some brilliant reporting, because if I was in London, I would have hoped that I would have done something like this. This is excellent. WikiLeaks tweeted this out of what she did. She walked up to one of the undercover cars staking out the Ecuadorian embassy in London. This particular car had seen 3 shifts of different pairs of people over the last 20 hours. Engines running, lights on. Watcher makes a call under head cover. Here we go.
Hey, are you guys worried about being parked here for so long? Hi. I'm a journalist from Washington, D.C. I've already spoke to you guys twice before. You told me that you're not media, that you're not journalists. I'm trying to cover the covert operation against Julian Assange. You guys are the 3rd round of people, at least, that's been sitting in this car in the last 20 hours. Can you please tell me how long you're planning to be out here? Are more people going to come take over for you after this? The Ecuadorian government has said that they might expel Julian Assange from the embassy. Are you waiting for that? How come
Spooks covering the faces up. Isn't that glorious?
you guys are watching him, but you don't want to be watched yourself? Why do the watchers not want to be watched? I would really like an answer to this. We're going to continue to cover this. You may as well just talk to us. How much is this going to cost taxpayers? How long has this operation been going on? He's been in there for 7 years. Have you guys been monitoring it for 24/7 for 7 years now? Do you guys not feel bad? He has asylum and he's a journalist. You don't feel bad doing this? I respect police and I'm glad that they're there to keep us safe, but this is not keeping anyone safe. Shame on you.
Yeah, shame on them. I think you'll agree. That was brilliant. And you know what I thought? When I started my journalism drive, I said, this is new for me going out on the road. I'm going to learn. And I learned from that big time, because honestly, that's exactly what I'm going to be doing when I'm down there. Now, I'm going to be looking for these people, and I'm going to be shining a light on them, and I'm going to have the camera in their face, and I'm going to have them cowering and covering these people who are attacking the Fourth Estate at the behest of the establishment. And you know what? Every one of those reporters that were down there baying, there for the big story, baying for blood, the banks of them from the BBC and ITV and Channel 4, if they're not going up to these bastard vehicles as well, doing the same thing, then shame on them, because this is an attack on the Fourth Estate. And well done, Cassandra Fairbanks, for doing that. I thought that was brilliant, and that is what I want to be doing. That is exactly what every reporter worth their salt should be doing on this. I made the point in one of my videos that I did from down there over the weekend. Everybody, claps about the Post, and this is wonderful, the Post with the Pentagon papers. That movie that they made with Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks. Oh, it's fantastic. They made the publisher out to be the hero. He wasn't the hero, it was the whistleblower. And then everybody came out and said, oh, great, free press. It's nonsense. It's happening right now in London. The guy is being tortured because he basically published the truth. And these reporters don't give a flying F. You've got to ask why. We know why, don't we? Because any experienced reporter who cares about his or her profession would be doing the same as Cassandra Fairbanks did right there. I think it was brilliant what she did. Absolutely brilliant. I'm sure you do too. Assange has committed no crime whatsoever. None. Yet he's been locked up 7 years in arbitrary detention for 7 years because he published the truth in a political prison, basically. The government's own lawyer, the US government's own lawyer, I think it was in a court of law, I think it was in a court case, testified that the Manning releases, remember, that is the reason why they want to get their hands on Julian. The Manning releases, thanks to Assange and WikiLeaks giving so much advance notice, by the way, left 0 lives in danger. None. Their own lawyer argued that and said that in court. Their own defence lawyer. This is a witch hunt. And the neocons in Washington have tried every which way they can to try and get their hands on him. Every which way. First of all, there was the Sweden thing, when they tried this whole sex by surprise fiasco, which was basically, from what I could tell, some sort of love triangle that was going on with 2 women who were pretty pissed off on Assange and loads of, Western police forces and nefarious underhand organisations putting pressure on them to make up accusations. It's important to remember that Sweden had investigated this and pretty much had closed the case, and Assange was free to leave the country and left Sweden to come to the UK. And it was only after pressure from the UK Foreign Office, etc., and the US Foreign Office, their State Department, that Sweden reopened the case. He didn't skip the country or anything like that. They always miss that out. So they've tried that. And they tried, obviously, they've tried coercing ex-girlfriends of his. It just annoys me that they always miss out that. They always miss out that. They forced Sweden to reopen the case. Then he sought asylum. That's when he sought asylum. He wasn't running away. He knew that it was a witch hunt. He knew that they were coming for him, and he was right. They forced him. They gagged him then over the Catalan tweets. Gagged him. Silenced his freedom of speech. Human rights violation right there. Because he said something on Twitter about Spain's democracy. So they've used that to try and force him out. And now they're trying to force him out over the INA Papers scandal, which, remember, WikiLeaks didn't publish, but they've blamed it on them anyway. As they do, because he's trying to save his own failing presidency. Looks like whoever would come in after Moreno wouldn't be any better, so that's a bit of a bitch, to be quite honest. And this is all, remember, after took $500 million or something like that from Goldman Sachs, and trying to sell Julian Assange back to the Americans through Manafort for debt relief. These are all facts, documented facts that the media never, ever bring up, ever. And if they do, it's in, paragraph 17, subsection Z, and one line somewhere. So with all this in mind, with everything that's happened, and, with the state of Lenin Moreno's presidency, and the state of, the Brexit in the UK, which is an absolute disaster, and which is possibly going to lead to a general election and a Jeremy Corbyn-led socialist government, quite possibly, you can see why they are ramping this up and desperate to get him. The mask is off here. The time is ticking. They might be losing their window of opportunity, and they are absolutely petrified. I'm sure of it. That's why we're seeing this ramp up of extra security now. As Cassandra Fairbanks rightly just pointed out, there was another. I saw armed police, and she did, arrive while we were there. Armed police. The one guy I was there, he dropped his bullets all over the floor. It's quite comical. I wish I'd got the camera set up, to be quite honest. It's quite likely that this is actually going to happen, or they're going to keep trying to make this happen. Because remember, WikiLeaks did say within hours to days. And it's only been, 3 or 4 days since that has happened. Now, Moreno visits Washington on the 17th or the 18th, I think it is, about 9 days' time. And no doubt they're doing that to try and come up with another plan to get Julian Assange. Another plan to try and persecute and prosecute a publisher for publishing the truth. We'll see what happens next. It seems like the drama may yet unfold. Julian Assange needs all the support right now that we can muster. I can't stress that enough. He really does. So does Chelsea Manning, remember, who is currently in prison because she's refusing to prosecute her publisher, which is a direct violation on the Fourth Estate. And any journalist not screaming about that right now, well, they're part of the problem. Because this is an assault on the Fourth Estate, make no bones about it. And any journalist not screaming blue murder right now is either bought or paid for, or is hoping to be, auditioning for it, so to speak. Protect Julian, Unity 4J, and free Chelsea Manning. Support them however you can. I'll leave links below this video when I drop it as a separate video. Please use all the information below you can. Write to your MP, get them on record as to whether they support Julian Assange and the Fourth Estate and the free press or not. Thanks very much. Hey everybody, I'm back. Just want to check this. Right. Hey everybody. Yeah, so that's the latest on the Julian situation. It's precarious down there. It really is. It's precarious. Everybody's on edge, and there's a lot of activity. It's happening. It's happening. They're trying to get him. And I think had WikiLeaks not got that that tip, he could well already be in, you know, a US black site. Could well already. That's my opinion on it. Truth to power says deep thought. Absolutely. Absolutely. Joe Hickey, if someone had said to me, say 10 years ago or even 5 years ago, I would have been mortified. Now it's a badge of honour. Well, I proudly mean it as nothing other than a truth-teller now. I assure you mean either Putin puppet or anti-Semite or something like that, Joe. So call me anti-Semitic, she says. Yeah, it was anti-Semitic. Terrible. Right. Let me just make sure. I've got another story to do. Oh, have we got a troll? We've got a troll. Wonderful. We're getting more. I must be doing something right. The Yellow Vest protests in France. So they passed week 21 this week. I nearly said Paris there, and Paris would have been wrong. It's actually France. I'll show you that in a minute. So yeah, it's week 21. Not that you would know it if you got the information from, or your information from the mainstream media in this country, the printed press or the BBC, because that's probably got something to do with this, because this is the state of this is the state of our Prime Minister at the moment. Here she is last week talking about Brexit.
Over the last few days, people have been asking me what on earth's happening with Brexit.
She's in a bit of trouble, and the whole of the bloody government are in a bit of trouble at the moment. So it's probably got something to do with that the media aren't, you know, covering the Yellow Vest process, the Yellow Vest protest rather. And knowing how subservient the media are to the Dark Lord and Empire she commands, they are no doubt not covering it because it's actually working. They are actually getting their way. The yellow vests are. France plans tax cuts to quell yellow vest anger. This was just yesterday in the BBC. Strange, they covered this in the BBC, but they didn't cover, you know, the sort of stuff that I'm going to be covering in a little bit, because these protests show no sign of slowing down whatsoever. Week 21 it is, and there was an estimated last week 110,000. I think that was just in Paris. And looking at the size of the crowds I saw, yeah, it really was. They were quite huge. They were massive, in fact. And not only is it working, which is one reason the media aren't covering it, of course, you know, threat of a good idea and all that, but the way Macron's forces are treating the protesters, the way the police are treating the protesters, is really quite what's the word? Israeli-like, Israeli IDF-like, shall we say? Just take a look at this. You're not going to believe what you're about to see. Well, you are. It's just a minute long. These are the police. Watch what they do. And pay particular attention to the blonde lady who gets hit twice. And just listen to her screaming. This is incredible that the media are not covering this. It's incredible. They just start grabbing people randomly and kicking the shit out of them. This was the weekend in, I believe this was Paris. Now watch the blonde lady coming to shit. Watch this blonde lady now. Watch him. Whack. Can you hear her screaming? It's like Beirut, Baghdad. You can still hear that woman screaming in the background. It's absolutely insane. And the media are just not covering it at all. Now, I wonder, do you think that they would be interested in that sort of antics by the police and the protesters if they were, they said by the police if they were, I don't know, pro-Guaido supporters in Venezuela and those were Maduro's police, Maduro's police in Venezuela. Maduro. Do you think that would be what it would be covering it then? If that was Maduro's police chasing, you know, the pro-Guaido supporters rather than anti-Macron. Do you see? You see the hypocrisy and the propaganda of the media, because those protests are working, as I've said. Macron has already, let me show you this. Macron has already had to back down. He was acting all big and saying that he was going to block Brexit. He was acting all big. And he was having to do this, I think, because of the pressure that he's got, that he's under at home. But then, obviously, he's capitulated and done a U-turn and passed it today. So, and if you want an update on Brexit, by the way, yeah. Honestly,
for the last few days,
that pretty much
people have been asking me what on earth's happening.
Yeah, that's the state of Brexit, and it will continue to do that until they decide, yeah, you didn't vote the right way last time. We're going to have another referendum. Mark my words, I think it's coming. Macron has obviously capitulated then, and that's not going to help his approval ratings at home at all, because he's a neoliberal, pro-corporatist cuck. But it's not just Paris. Let me show you this is going on. This is a thread that I found on Twitter. Great. I've started following this guy. He's really been tweeting it out. You can see here. This is Rouen. Wherever the hell that is. That's Rouen again. And there's plenty other cities. Here's the size of the crowds in Paris. A bit further down, that's Paris. Paris again. These are big crowds, and the media are ignoring it. It's not just Paris. That's another Paris one. That's Paris. Look at all these people. They keep saying that the turnout is down in the media. That's how the media keep saying it. I think they're lying. Look at these massive amounts of people. And this was, again, I think this was just, I mean, it goes on. I saw one earlier where they had it sped up. It was going on for ages. There were hundreds of thousands of people there. And it's not just, here is, I think this is Montpellier, isn't it? No, that's Rouen again. There's also, that's Rouen. That's Paris. Montpellier, there's another. These cities get all over France, this is going on. All over France. This is why I think the UK media are not covering these protests at all. They're scared it's going to spread over here. That's what they are, and they're you know, they've been told. I'm sure they have. Or they're doing it, you know, without being told because they're good little, you know, subservient to their masters. Like I say, they're good little corporate and establishment mouthpieces. They're keeping quiet because they know the government don't want it to spread over here. But the thing is, if you look at the state of Brexit at the moment, and you look at the state of the country, I think it's pretty clear that, you know what? That movement's going to come here sooner or later. And I can't wait. I don't know about you. Thanks very much, Nostradamus. I'm still wanting to buy you a beer, mate. Thanks very much, mate. I appreciate that. Yeah, everything helps. It really does. I can't do this without you guys. I can't say it enough. I really can't. I appreciate it totally. Page has gone all over the place. Do you expect a D notice? You don't know, Nicky. You don't know what they're like. I might get one. I don't think so. I wouldn't say I'll go so far as there being a D notice on them, but I just think they're not covering it. They're just not covering. They know they're not covering it. If I find out there is a D notice on it, it's going to wrap it all up in a nice bow. That's for sure. But they are mouthpieces to the establishment, the media are, and obviously the BBC is their megaphone. I found that incredible, that they're just not covering. They're just not covering that really at all. I find it incredible. Gordon Dimmack do videos on Lula and Brazil, says Farouk. I will once I know a lot about Lula and Brazil. At the moment I don't. There's only, obviously I need to research these things. I can't I can't do it off the top. I can't do it off the top of my head if I don't know it. Have you checked out Michael Brooks, says Farouk as well? Yes, I have. Michael Brooks is great. Yeah, but lots of people now saying D notice. I'm not sure. I just think it's one of those things that they're not covering because they know it would look bad. They're not covering it for a reason. That's sure, because these protests are going on all over, not just in France either. I saw they were in Berlin. They were in Holland as well. This is going to be a global thing, and I think they're desperately trying to get everything done before it happens. I really do. There is no mask with them at the moment. The mask is off. The media, they're scrambling and doing. They're not acting right, as my writing hero Caitlin Johnson would say. The media just ain't acting right, and they haven't been for quite some time now. Jamie Rowe says, "Hi Jamie, how you doing? What did you make of the famed Marxist philosopher Slavoj Zizek saying that the yellow vest protesters' demands are too vague to succeed. I don't know. I think the yellow vest protesters' demands are being met. They didn't have vague demands. They had demands. They had a list of them. They've already capitulated on the fuel tax, haven't they? Now he's on about doing tax cuts as well. It's working, and they're showing no sign of sort of letting up. You know, the more he keeps giving, the more they're going to care. The more they're going to do it. And all the time, these police are not cracking heads. They're going to have that over here. That's going to have it over here. You know, the IDF export their police, their tactics to police all around, you know, lots of Western countries like France, the UK, and the US, as I've shown in other videos. Who is your hairdresser, Gordon? Says Keith. Lovely lady. Forgotten her name there. Yeah, forgotten her name. She's a lovely lady there. Just realised that you were being sarcastic, weren't you? What will the meaning being yellow vests in UK, same as France, says James Lindsay? It'll be... I don't know. I'm waiting for a spark, James. I think something is going to happen. I look back at revolutions and revolts in history, in UK history, and there's always one spark. The people put up with so much. The people put up with way more than they should in every instance. And then there's one little straw that breaks the camel's back, and it's all over then. And they, you know, so I'm waiting for that straw, that spark, that straw to break the camel's back. But I mean, you know, it might not happen. Who knows? It might not happen. But I do feel the anger and the tension in the country from everybody I speak to. CNN ratings are below cartoon reruns, says Will T. Honestly, I can't believe anybody takes that channel seriously anymore. I really can't. Paul Meany says, Gordon, when is Labour going to honour the Brexit vote to leave and tell the Blairites to get lost? Well, the problem he's got, Paul, is that the Blairites run the party. The problem Corbyn's got, and the problem Labour have got is Corbyn and Labour's policy, their manifesto, they've got the support of the people. The people support it overwhelmingly. The people that don't support it are actually Labour MPs. Labour MPs are the ones that are standing in democracy, in the way of democracy happening. And I mean, my MP, for instance, she's one of the chief ones, Emma Reynolds. She represents an area that voted Leave 2-1. The Black Country, you know, Wolverhampton North East, I think it is. She represents an area that voted Leave to 2-1, and then for the last 2 years has been campaigning for another referendum and to scrap, you know, Brexit. That's not somebody representing the people of the constituency. That is, I don't know what the hell that is. I mean, how can she say this? She's standing up for the people of Wolverhampton, who, when their lives have been destroyed and jobs have disappeared elsewhere through neoliberalism and global politics, global policies, globalization rather, who expected jobs in computing, etc., and instead found, you know, gig economy jobs for less than the minimum wage. You know, she's basically sticking a middle finger up to those people who voted for her and saying, fuck you, I know better. Essentially, that's what my MP is doing. Now, sure, Emma Reynolds is a good person, but you know what, Emma Reynolds? Fuck you, I know better. Represent the fucking people who put you in power, you know? It fucking annoys me. What the fuck? Do they even... Why do they even fucking try and tell us we have a democracy in this country? When you've got an area votes to leave 2-1, and then the fucking politician says, no, I know better than those fucking 40,000 people. 60,000 people, I think that's 40,000 people, basically. She said, no, fuck you, I know better. And that's a Labour MP in a solid Labour seat. Solid Labour seat. And that's how they treat their base. Go fuck yourself, Emma Reynolds. Seriously, go fuck yourself. It fucking annoys me. It really does. And remember, I voted Remain. And I'm saying that. I think we should leave now. For God's sake, man, you can't reverse that thing. You can't cancel it. You can't say, oh, we've changed our mind. You haven't implemented it yet. Implement it first. Then if you don't like it after a year or two, apply to get back in. That's democracy. I want to get to another story. So I saw this a couple of days ago. This story, which was largely ignored, strangely enough. It was in the Scottish Herald. Scottish Labour candidate facing questions over links to secret military propaganda unit. Really? Okay, her name is Kate Jones, I think her name is. It Kate something? That's her anyway. This is the Labour MP. So I want to get to this. I'm going to read this article. It won't take long. Let me just move it over so you can see all the writing. So the article says this: a Scottish Labour candidate and former Better Together boss has been called on to explain her links to a military propaganda unit within the British Army. Kate Watson is believed to be part of the Berkshire-based 77th Brigade, which was described by one newspaper as a, quote, special force of Facebook warriors. Special force of Facebook warriors? That sounds very much like a bot to me, don't you? She declined to comment. But David Miller, a professor of political sociology at Bristol University, said the 77th Brigade is involved in manipulation of the media, including using fake online profiles. Glasgow East is traditional Labour territory. A Labour candidate seeking to represent it should be transparent about their affiliations and commitments. You're damn right she should. And David Miller, by the way, is brilliant. I'll be talking more about him in the coming weeks and months, no doubt, because he's one of the academics that I believe we should be, and the media should be hoisting up, and the people that the media should be listening to, and are not. They're smearing them and slandering them and lying about them. I'll continue this with this article anyway. It continues. Formed in 2015. The 77th Brigade specialises in non-lethal warfare in the age of 24/7 rolling news and social media platforms, with Vladimir Putin's Russia being accused of exploiting the openness of Western democracies, pumping out conspiracy theories on the state-owned TV stations. When he says conspiracy theories here, what they mean is truths and facts, because that's basically what this Russian propaganda is. Truth dispelling British propaganda. That's what I've found in my experience for the most part anyway. Continues, in a November article, Wired magazine reported that the brigade soldiers do not fight, but instead, quote, edit videos, record podcasts and write viral posts. You're starting to see what this is, don't you? You're starting to see what it is. Given access to the unit, the magazine said of the office, quote, there was a suite full of large electronic sketchpads and multi-screen desktops loaded with digital editing software. I've seen these sort of things in TV and Hollywood. I think it was Homeland I saw it in. If I've got the clip, I'll put it in here when I drop this video. But there were banks of, screens, and each person was allocated fake accounts, and they were there to spread information or spread pro whatever candidate or anti whatever candidate they were. They were basically bots. They were basically people controlling bots, people controlling fake profiles on Facebook and Twitter. I know all about it. I used to do it as an internet marketer. I'll continue with this. The men and women of the 77th knew how to set up cameras, record sound, edit videos, plucked from across the military. They were proficient in graphic design, social media advertising, and data analytics. Quote, some may have taken the Army's course in defence media operations. Almost half were reservists from Civvy Street with full-time jobs in marketing or consumer research. What does this sound to you like, guys? What does this operation sound to you like, eh? Integrity Initiative. It continues. According to the Army's website, the brigade is a combined, quote, regular and Army Reserve unit, which aims to challenge the difficulties of modern warfare through non-lethal engagement and legitimate non-military levers. In other words, spreading bullshit on social media. It continues. Using marketing jargon, the Army says that the 77th conducts, quote, audience, actor and adversary analysis, as well as supporting counter-adversarial information activity. In other words, saying, that came from Russia, that truth did. It's fake news. It's false. It's propaganda. Yeah, bad. That's what these people are doing. And now they're running for... Now they're running to be MP and politicians. In a nod to its social media purpose, the website adds that the 77th Brigade collects, creates and disseminates digital and wider media content in support of designated tasks. Journalists, social media experts and researchers are listed as potential recruits. Potential recruits. I wonder if they're recruits for a cluster. I wonder if they're recruiting for some sort of cluster. Integrity Initiative. As Director of Operations at Better Together, Watson played a key day-to-day role in an organisation set up to keep Scotland in the United Kingdom. Really? And when was it set up? 2015, it said, didn't it? 2015. Integrity Initiative, that was set up in 2015 as well. What was happening in 2015? Let me think. Scottish referendum? It continues. Journalists, social media experts and researchers are listed as potential recruits. As Director of Operations at Better Together, Watson played a key... I've already read that. After the referendum, she got a job working for Consequiter, a consultancy owned by former Labour Shadow Foreign Secretary Douglas Alexander. I think that's the guy. If I remember right, Douglas Alexander was the guy who spitting image used to make look like he had a... I can't remember. No, that was Douglas Hurd. Anyway, I'll continue. According to the Courier newspaper, she also graduated with postgraduate qualification in terrorism studies in 2013. So she's got a postgrad qualification in terrorism studies, and she's come from the Army's 77th Bot Farm. Sounds like a perfect MP to me. What do you think? Jesus Christ, this is Orwellian. She also has political ambitions, having stood for Labour in Glasgow East at the last general election and losing by 75 votes. She has since been selected to contest the same seat. So she lost last time by 75 votes. Great. Wonderful. An online left-wing magazine, in a write-up of the fiercely contested Labour selection contest, claimed in June last year that she is part of the 77th Brigade, which Miller told this newspaper is a, quote, secretive military propaganda unit. Another politician linked to the unit is Tory Junior Defence Minister Mark Lancaster. The MP's website states he has been selected as Deputy Commander 77 Brigade. So it's not just Labour politicians here, for all of those who are going, it's Scottish Labour. It's not. This is the Ministry of Defence trying to put people in to places of power within the political sphere. That's what this is. They're doing it in America. The Democrats have done it in America in the midterms. That's exactly what they're doing. It's unbelievable. This is absolutely unbelievable. The article continues. I say it's unbelievable. It's pretty much par for the course recently, isn't it? Speaking about the brigade in Parliament last week, Lancaster said, quote, we have focused on just one aspect of the role of the 77th Brigade, which is web ops. But it also encompasses some of the traditional capabilities we also have. be that what we would know as civic military cooperation, the outreach group or media group. Again, this sounds very similar to the Integrity Initiative and how they go out and, you know, find people to add into their clusters. It sounds very similar to it, but that's what... It certainly looks like this is the format that they're taking anyway. By bringing all those components together, it says, you are effectively updating what was a 20th century capability for the 21st century and the introduction of the web and the internet. There is no doubt that the information advantage is very much a key component of all the work that we will be doing in the future. I will give one example of the interest to us politicians where recently I went on an exercise. Traditionally, military exercises tend to escalate upwards. But actually the key component there to allow de-escalation, which politicians are always interested in, was the use of information advantage and the web. Between February 2017 and 2018, 29 personnel from 77th Brigade were forward deployed on operations, according to a written parliamentary answer. Meanwhile, it was reported in December that a security alert had been issued at UK's military bases in Britain after a Russian TV crew was seen outside the 77th Brigade's headquarters. A journalist was spotted filming, you may remember that, I'll talk about it in a second, and the MOD said the journalist's suspicious behaviour was monitored by the base's systems. This was it. You'll remember it. Russian TV crew sparked military alert with suspicious behaviour at the UK barracks. Right. Question. First of all, bit of a hypocritical, isn't it? Government complaining about Russian bots and Bernie memes, you know, messing about with the 2016 election, which it didn't, and messing about with the Brexit referendum, which it didn't. You've got some nerve, haven't you? When you've got your own troll farm, it's what looks like your troll farm itself, because let's face it, why else were the Russian TV crew so interested last year in that 77th when all this stuff about the Integrity Initiative was coming to light? You know? Why aren't our journalists sniffing around lists like beagles? It's because they're all bought and paid for. You know, is this one of our Integrity Initiative troll farms up at this 77th Brigade? Honestly, I'm asking the question. Because that's what it, you know, if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck and all that, it will be interesting to see how this Kate Watson explains her links to this shady outfit. And also whether the MOD have to make another statement on them not getting involved in politics. Because they're certainly ramping things up at the minute, and they're certainly getting desperate. I mean, you know, I didn't even get a chance to cover this last week because I had to shoot down to London. But, you know, you've got the MOD using Corbyn, pictures of Corbyn as target practice. And then the same day that comes out, you've got conservative politicians and people on Twitter all of a sudden screaming that this guy is a Marxist, all of them in unison. It seems to me like they're scared. Don't you? It seems to me like with everything that's going on at the moment, with the way, all this and the way the news are just, you know, propagandists and so fake and so obviously fake now and so easily spottable to people that they are fake. Nobody's got trust in the media at all, especially the BBC. With all this going on, and now candidates for politicians are now connected to troll farms, MOD troll farms. They're getting desperate. I think they're scared of a left-wing socialist government. By the way, that Kate Watson there at the bottom, you'd just be able to point out, you probably can't see it, it says, Kate Watson is on the far right. Yeah. Apparently in more ways than one, after reading that story. Integrity Initiative is in Davos, says Lawrence Taylor. You know what? A lot of roads lead back to Davos, mate. An Integrity Initiative is global. You are correct. Not just over here. They have clusters all over the shop. And I would have covered a story that I saw last week. But I had to stop and shoot down to London. So I want to give an update on the journalism drive, everyone. As you know, 4 weeks ago now, it's only was it 4 weeks or 3 weeks ago? I think it might even be 3 weeks ago. I said if I could raise £500, I would go down and cover the Extinction Rebellion rallies next, which are Extinction Rebellion rebellions, which are going to start next week, which I will do. We cleared the £500, and what I thought was, everybody was so generous, and they really do want a voice on the ground that you can trust, So it's like, well, okay, well, if you fund me more, then I'll go up and I'll go do more work on the road. And we've actually got to the stage now. Well, I can announce this is the website that I was banned from going into for the last 4 days. I finally got into it. And we can see there we've raised £957.19, which is incredible. And that's all thanks to you, because with that, so far I've bought obviously the camera needed, and all the microphones, etc., and packs, etc., all the batteries needed for it, all the memory cards, all the leads, the laptop so I can edit on site, the memory for the laptop, extra batteries for the laptop, tripods for the cameras. Basically what it means is I am now not only fully mobile and we can go everywhere and record everywhere, but I can also, as of now I've got all the batteries, etc., I can stream live from the ground, and I will be doing that this weekend, because I will be definitely going down to the Ecuadorian embassy. I'm going back down to London this weekend, and I'll be streaming live from there. We'll do a live report from there, and definitely from the Extinction Rebellions from next week onwards. With your help, if you keep funding me, I'll keep doing it. Obviously, this is as I've said in my last live stream, every quarter, I'm going to make everything transparent. Going to open up and say, this is where your money is going. This is what it's bought. This is how much I've taken. This is how much we paid for wages, etc. I'm going to be totally transparent, because I think that's what our media needs, and nobody else seems to be stepping up and doing it. And people have been so grateful for me doing it, and really, I'm the one who should be grateful, because this is all thanks to you. It's all thanks to your support. It's not just the people who can afford. I know not everybody can afford financial, even though I would like to point out that I think about 60%. I think 60%, I worked it out, of the money that I get each month from Patreon is from people who send $1 or $2 a month. They make up the bulk of the monthly money I get on Patreon. So I mean, every little helps. I can't stress that enough. And obviously, if you can't, then a like and a share, and talk to people and get the word out, because they are trying to restrict us in independent media. They are, these corporations, and they will eventually kick us off and silence us. It's got to the stage now where I could probably just about manage if that was to happen. I don't want it to, but with your help it won't, because hopefully we'll win this fight. And yeah, I'm going to cover the Extinction Rebellion and beyond, maybe even the Yellow Vests in France. It's only a train ride from Euston, the station that I visit in London. So I want to say big thanks to everybody, and I'm going to keep doing it. I've really enjoyed it. I've found a passion for it, and I'm ready to learn. I think I've learned a lot already, and yeah, thanks very much. I'll keep doing this going forward. Bottom of my heart, I've been blown away by your support. Thank you. Nostradamus says, thanks, mate. Have another drink, mate. I'm playing the drink it game. Every 10th fuck gets you a beer. You must be thirsty today. Thanks, buddy. Tom Watson should leave and join a new party, says GB January. Tom Watson should just leave politics altogether because he doesn't represent the people of the UK, that's for certain, or the people of his constituency. He represents the interests of Israel. That's who Tom Watson represents. Bunny Spangle, he's here causing trouble. Talking about Marx. Bunny? Yeah. Socialist economic model 100% fail, you say, Bunny. You think I'm a socialist? You think I'm a socialist and I adhere to the socialist economic model? Honestly, Bunny, if you think that's what I am, then you've got me sadly mistaken. I'm afraid I am far more fucking radical than that, you stupid idiot. Say goodbye. Nikki just blocked the fucking troll. I want to get to this. So you know how one of this year's Nobel Peace Prize nominees, start that again actually. I've just realised I haven't got it set up. Oh, it was. Hi everyone. So you know how one of the this year's Nobel Peace Prize nominees is a journalist, right? This guy nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. And for those of you who say that he's not a journalist, you know what? For someone who's not a journalist, he's won an awful lot of awards for journalism. He really has. You should look into it. It's quite amazing. So, you know how this guy's been, you know, arbitrarily detained as a political prisoner for 7 years in some room in London, in Knightsbridge in London. Imagine living in Knightsbridge and never going outside, but... and this guy is, you know, who the UN have been saying is the United Nations themselves, the United Nations Human Rights Council, say that he's been treated inhumanely, and said that his gagging and his silencing last year was an abuse of human rights, an attack on free speech, and arbitrary detention and tantamount to torture. You know, these are serious crimes that the British government are accused of. You know, so this guy who's been had his speech infringed and he's gagged, you know, now for the last year and incarcerated basically in a political prison, arbitrarily detained for the last 7. You think that the British government would do something about it? Well, you know what? I've got some great news. I've got some wonderful news because they're doing something about it, because the UK and Canada, according to the Foreign Office, have launched a global campaign to defend media freedom. Yes, and shine a spotlight on media abuses. Well, I mean, there's one right down in London. They've got to be talking about that, right? Today, Jeremy Hunt, Kath Freeland, and Special Envoy on Media Freedom, Amal Clooney, she's involved, discussed how we can reverse the trend of violence against journalists. Now, obviously, they're talking about, you know, Julian Assange here, right? They're talking about him, right? No.
The UK, together with Canada, has decided that democratic countries need to stand together to make it an international taboo of the highest order to murder, arrest or detain journalists just for doing their job.
To murder, arrest or detain journalists. I know people hate me stopping and starting videos, but you've got to listen to that in all its glory to really just soak up the fucking hypocrisy of this absolute vile, disgusting excuse for a human being. Listen to this absolute tossbag.
The UK, together with Canada, has decided that democratic countries need to stand together to make it an international taboo of the highest order to murder, arrest or detain journalists just for doing their job.
I want to just show you something. Look at the date on this. It's the 5th. It's 4 days ago. The same day that it comes out that they're after Julian Assange, they're trying to get him. This guy who's got political asylum, this guy who committed no crimes. This is the shit that's... Honestly, I cannot believe I can't believe they're getting away with this. Nobody in the press is fucking calling them out on it. Nobody. Not a single fucking person.
And we can only do this if we work together as countries with shared values.
Targeting journalists undermines democracy.
Amal Clooney. Amal Clooney. It's like fucking Mockingbird. It's Mockingbird 2.0. They're getting fucking actresses and wives of famous actors and famous people to come out and fucking gaslight people. How the fuck can she sit there doing this, knowing Julian Assange is incarcerated in London and has been for 7 years? How the fuck can she do it?
It impedes our ability to hold the powerful to account, and it allows countless human rights abuses to take place in the dark.
Just listen to that again.
It impedes our ability to hold the power.
It impedes our ability to hold the powerful to account. Who holds the powerful to account more than the fucking fourth estate that we've got left in WikiLeaks and Julian Assange? Who?
Powerful to account, and it allows countless human rights abuses to take place in the dark.
Yeah, down in London.
So I welcome the leadership that the UK, along with Canada, is showing by spearheading this new campaign for media freedom. And I'm honoured to be asked to contribute legal proposals on steps that governments can take to improve the protection of journalists.
Oh, go fuck yourself. Seriously, go fuck yourself. How the fuck can you say that with a straight face? You know all about Julian Assange, Amal Clooney.
By being the chair of a new independent legal panel.
We believe that it's essential for liberal democracies to push back. And those of us who appreciate the absolute importance of liberal democracy need to really start taking some concrete action to defend the open society and to defend liberal democracy.
Yeah, concrete action. What I suggest is freeing that fucking guy for a start. I'm not sure whether they are aware of the hypocrisy there. I'm pretty, you know what, when I think about it, it's probably oblivious to them, especially, you know, people who are so out of touch like Amal Clooney. But, by the way, no, absolutely no surprises to see her there, by the way. Absolutely none, considering her husband has been such a champion for the fucking white helmets. This is a joke. This is an absolute fucking joke. It's a theatre. It's an absolute theatre. Where is the fucking media on that? Where is the media? Honestly, when I first saw that, it was like, this is all my Christmases coming to one. I can rip this apart. But I haven't had time to do it. All I wanted to do was just get this out there and say, can you believe this shit? Do you want a clearer example of us living in an Orwellian fucking nightmare and being gaslit into oblivion right now than that? And you know what? I haven't got that whole press conference. But that was a press conference they were doing. There were people, the reporters there taking pictures. Do you think any of them at all stood up and asked a fucking question, how can you be here when Julian Assange is being arbitrarily detained right now? Just, a few miles away? I assume that was somewhere in London. I doubt it. I doubt it. Of course, the media didn't ask those questions because they're all fucking bought and paid for. It's just same as Amal Clooney is bought and fucking paid for. But then again, she's a solicitor. She's got no morals. None of them fucking have in my experience. This is why we need a new fourth estate. This is why we need independent media. Because the media should be holding those people accountable right now. They should be highlighting their fucking propaganda every single day of the week. And they should be absolutely ripping apart any media as fake who are not doing it. But they're not. Our media is bought and paid for. They have not got any integrity whatsoever, and they are fucking lying and gaslighting to every single one of you, and then charging you for the fucking privilege and throwing you in jail if you don't pay your TV license. We need a new media. Stand up for a fourth estate and stand up for Julian Assange. And if you see any of that bullshit, make sure you call them out on it, because that was fucking disgusting. Hi guys, sorry, I get animated sometimes. Thank you very much for that, Astro. I really appreciate that. Kinky says, George Clooney's $25,000 fundraiser dinner for Hillary in 2016 with a big protest outside his house. Big fundraiser for Hillary Clinton. What a surprise. What a surprise. The champion of the white helmets. Absolute toss bag. And his wife, his fucking wife knows Julian Assange. I'm sure she does. I'm sure I read that she was talking about at some stage she was going to represent him. She fucking knows the situation down there. And she's crossed over to the dark side anyway. It's bullshit. It really is. It's a joke. It's a theatre. I read a great article from Caitlin Johnson yesterday, and she was talking about the media at the moment, and she was talking about how she tries to show people how to spot media manipulate, power manipulating you, and spot propaganda rather than point it out herself. She tries to, you know, teach a man to fish rather than give them a fish and feed them for a day, if you know what I mean. And I was reading a great article how she says once you can see them doing that, I mean, most of us know it's bullshit, but we buy a ticket, you know, some people buy a ticket to the show, they like being propagandized. And she said once you understand how the media is manipulating you and spot them doing it, it's the difference between going into a puppet show and watching a puppet master and being taken in by it, to literally walking down the street and seeing somebody in front of you doing that with their hands and pretending their hands are talking to each other. You can see it, the mask is off. And that's pretty much, they're getting into that situation more and more right now. They're getting more and more desperate. And we need to keep putting the pressure on them. All of us. We'll win this. I'm sure we will. That dickhead. We've got a troll. Imagine if Putin had a journalist locked away in an embassy in Moscow for 7 years. West would go into meltdown, say Damien Silver. Oh no! And yet Putin's the one who, you know, where's Snowden now? Western journalism is a disgrace. The most hated professions in the 21st century: politicians, journalists and lawmakers. She didn't cross over. So that was Darren O'Leary, sorry. We just came down to the bottom of the chat now, guys, and then I'm going to be off. Yeah, it's a troll, says Robert Hickey. Absolutely. You're getting more popular. You've got trolls now, says Bluebells. Yes, I have. Yeah, thanks for being a troll, everybody. Just ignore them. The best way, ignore them. Don't feed them. Don't give them the air. Right. I'm going to get off, guys. Thanks very much for tuning into the live stream. Thanks very much for all your support. I really do appreciate it. I've really got a taste for this this journalism, like getting out and seeing people, and I'm sure you could see from the videos that I released at the weekend. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed my time down there. I was knackered. I'm not kidding you. I was knackered. I didn't sleep any at all on the Thursday night at all. I got a few hours on the Friday, but it was great. I'm really enjoying it, and I know that we're doing this we're on the right side of history here, and I know that I'm beholden to you, and I will try my best to get things right, and if I get things wrong, I'll own up to it, and I'll apologise, and I'll say I'll try and get better. That's all I can do. I promise you that. So if you can support me, great, and if you can't, and you support what I do, like and share, you know, the videos, start talking, and yeah, please stand up however you can for Julian Assange and the Fourth Estate. Support independent media wherever you can. We really need it, everybody. We really do. I'm sure you're aware of how important this is. The more I research and the more I do this, the more every day I become more and more certain that not only is this the fight that we need to win against the media first and foremost, but that we're going to win it as well. Thanks very much, everybody. I'll see you all soon. Thanks to everybody tuning in. I truly love you all. I do. Love you all. Peace out, everybody. Take care.